Hey, what's going on? Welcome back to the Kpush podcast, episode 165. We're trying out something a little different today where I'm not doing a webcam. Uh, my webcam broke, and then I had to buy new ones, and that's why the Derek Dimful episode was audio only. And I just didn't want to do the fucking webcam on the solo episode anymore. I felt like I had to be Tim Dillon. I felt like I needed to be as funny, as interesting, and as introspective as what Tim Dillon does every week on his podcast, and I'm not any of those things. I'm not nearly as funny, nearly as smart, intelligent. I'm not any of those things. So I'm doing a Bill Burr style. I'm just gonna keep ripping famous comedians off until I get as popular as Carlo Mencia. No, I just there's something about a webcam that makes you want to like almost do stand up in a weird way. You're kind of doing what you do on stage and treating the webcam as the audience, and I'm not good at stand up nor podcasting enough to do that. I might do a webcam every once in a while, but I think for right now, at least, getting back into the waters here, because I did take off a little time. I haven't really recorded a solo episode since Trump got shot. No, once Trump got shot, I was almost assassinated. I looked at what was going on online and what I was seeing on social media, and I just said, you know what, I'm gonna hang back. I'm gonna lay back here and just watch. I'm just gonna observe. Because nobody wants a 21-year-old coming on a podcast and going, so what's the deal with this Trump assassination? Here's my deep dive into Trump's assassination. 3 days after it happened, acting like I know more than, I don't know, fucking anybody online. I mean, literally anybody online. Except, I will say this. I know more than the people who are my age and just couldn't stop posting. I mean, just could not stop. I mean, it was almost as if there's a gun to the back of their head and they just had to keep reposting what they saw online, which was amazing to me, because even me, with my big fucking ego, one of the biggest egos, to just start a podcast at 17 and just think that people are going to give a shit when you have absolutely zero life experience. Just zero. Still no life experience. I mean, right now there's still no life experience. I'm only 4 years older. But just nobody wants to hear what you have to say. Nobody cares. And by the way, you shouldn't really care about what you're Here's the thing. I imagine maybe people got really political in their 20s, in the 2000s and before the 2000s, but I don't think so. I mean, even the hippie movement was just taking acid and rolling around in the fucking ground. I mean, that's what political meant. Being political in your 20s meant in the 1970s. Was either going to Vietnam and dying, or just or just taking acid and sucking off the first person you see. That sort of. Can we get back to that, by the way? Can we get back to that? That's what being political is taking a drug and just fucking giving somebody oral sex. Can we get back to that? Well, Chris, we can't because there's fentanyl now. Well, you only live once. I mean, is fentanyl really the worst way to die? Risk the fentanyl, ladies and gentlemen. That's the message today. Risk it. Let's go back to being hippies. But yeah, no, Trump's president. if you lived under a rock, I don't really know what to say about what's going on. Also, one of the reasons why I didn't want to do the webcam anymore is because you can't see if I'm hailing Hitler anymore, which is, pretty big today because, I don't know, apparently a lot of people want to hail Hitler. By the way, the date is, I do want to start doing this given the date. It's January 27th, 2025. I don't know when the fuck you're going to watch this or when it's going to be uploaded, but this Elon Musk thing is pretty recent. It's pretty recent. It's pretty brand new. Yeah, and that's the thing is it's just hard not to laugh at. I mean, this guy Trump gets called Hitler for fucking 4 years, just nonstop. This guy is going to kill the Jews. Just over and over and over and over again. And then one of the big supporters, once he gets elected, I mean, it's like, what? This'll show him. That's fucking... You can't make jokes about it. We're going back into the Trump thing, and the problem was with the Trump presidency when it came to stand-up comedy and making jokes was he's already funny. It's kind of it's like making fun of like a funny movie. It's like if you were to watch Superbad and then try to add your commentary on Superbad and try to make your commentary more funny. Well, good luck. Good luck. If you're not Dave Chappelle, I don't know how on planet Earth you're going to make Superbad more funny. And that's just an example, but it kind of goes along well with the Trump example. Where it's like, you take a speech of Trump's and what are you going to make it funny? It's already funny. It's already getting laughs. He's doing like a stand-up. The president of the United States is doing stand-up. What are you... I was, I showed up late to this open mic last night, and this black guy was talking about how he always thought Trump was like the cool guy. He watched the TV show that he was on. He watched, listened to rap and hip-hop, and how rap and hip-hop always kind of looked at Trump as like the ultimate badass, the guy with the fucking name on his building, fucking gold, just all that type of shit. And now he's the evil guy. And I've always thought making Trump out to be this like evil, horrible person was just a fucking big mistake, because he's a cool guy, and you can't take a cool guy and make him a bad guy. Even if the cool guy does some fucked up shit. Every once in a while. You can't make him bad because he's cool. That's the thing. Even, being cool means you're bad sometimes. And so I've always thought the question is with Trump, should the cool guy be president? That was always more of the question I thought that should be asked, not is the cool guy Hitler? But Elon Musk says otherwise. What are you going to do? What are you going to do? Looking back at the election, because now that the election is over, I feel like hindsight is always 20/20, especially when you're young. When you're young, you're kind of living in the moment. You're just reacting to shit. It's harder to look ahead and see what will be and what won't be, and especially when it came to when the Democrats lost and when the Republicans won. And I know all this shit is old news now, but what the fuck? What do you want me to do, huh? Well, you want me commenting on it the week of? Yeah, I don't think so. I think the point where Trump easily won the election was that assassination. It had to have been. It was such a moment that when you watch that, even I remember the week of, you just go, that's going down. That's for sure going down in history. Your kids will ask you about the Trump assassination. I mean, they will ask you, hey, what was it like watching it happen at the time? And I remember where I was, right? And I think a lot of people are going to remember where they were when they first heard about it, when they saw it on Twitter, Facebook, wherever. I think that's going to be the moment where the Republicans won. And looking back at it, I think that should be. And something that happened right after he got assassinated, I was hanging with my boys. I was hanging with my buddies Gio and Andy. And they're two really good friends of mine. And we took a shot to Trump almost getting assassinated. And I remember as I felt the vodka touch my tongue and roll back down my throat, I just went, Trump won. As a white kid in the Boston suburbs takes a shot with his two black Haitian friends to Trump almost being murdered in front of live television. I mean, that... And that's just my moment, right, with the Trump assassination, right? How many of those moments happened in America when Trump almost got assassinated? How many Latinos took a cheers with a white guy in New Mexico at some rundown bar? And they just, they cheers to Trump. You had a lot of those private moments. A lot of private text messages, a lot of private DMs, a lot of shots taken. I'm not gunshots. I mean, shots of vodka or Bacardi, whatever it was. It doesn't matter. But you have a lot of these moments where people are coming together when they see that, and they see Trump stand up and go fight, fight, fight. That had to have been the moment. That will be looked back on in history. And I think the moment where the Democrats lost had to have been that debate. I mean, it had to have been that debate. Had to have been. When they brought old Joe Biden out and he couldn't talk. I mean, it's almost having Joe Biden go out in a debate like they did was almost having a paraplegic try to swim. You know, it's like somebody with two amputated legs trying to fucking swim against against Michael Phelps. It's like, I don't know. I don't know if you're going to be able to beat him, buddy, but go ahead. Go ahead and try. It's like the one thing you got to do for a debate is talk. You know? It's the one thing. It's like somebody not having any legs try to run against Usain Bolt. You know, you're not going to get that far. No pun intended. It wasn't even a pun, but you get it. You get what I'm putting down. And here's how I felt, really, because I didn't vote Trump or Kamala. I voted third party, you know, because I'm a real faggot. I'm a real gay-bo. No, I couldn't. For my first election, and I've been thinking about this a lot too, right? Is you got to think about my generation, because this was my first, you know, I'm talking about the 2000s to '03 babies right now. If you were born in '04, you only get counted in this 3-year period if you have an older sibling. Yeah, if you're '04, '05, and you have an older sibling, you get thrown in with us. But that's it. If you were a single child and you were born in '04, I can smell it on you, you little rat. But the thing is you gotta understand one thing, is the first election I sort of remember. I mean, sort of, kind of remember, was Trump and Hillary in 2016. Because even if you want to talk about and what was it? You could vote in this election, what was it, 2024? So I guess you could vote if you were born in '05. Some '06 you could vote. So '05. So '05, that was the earliest you could have been born, right? Am I doing the math on that right? '05, 2024. Yeah, 19 years. So some in 2006, but all of 2005. If you were born in 2005, you could vote in this election. And the first real election I remember was the Trump and Hillary one. And I think you have to understand that the younger generation doesn't remember anything else. Yeah, we might, whatever, Mitt Romney and fucking Obama, maybe. But like barely, because that was 2012. In 2012, I was 9. And if you were born in 2000, you were 12. So maybe you could remember. Maybe you might remember that a little bit if you were born in 2000. Slightly. But really the big one for a lot of us was 2016. In 2016, I was 13 years old. 13, 14 years old. I forget exactly when it was. But you got to remember that was like the real first one. I remember talking about it in school, talking about it with other people. And I thought Trump was fucking hilarious. I thought everything Trump said in 2013 was hysterical. I just thought the whole thing was entertaining. But after 8 years of just hearing this guy's name, either you don't believe anything that anybody tells you, Because you basically know him. You basically grew up with the guy, right? If you were 12, whatever it was, if you're like 11 to like 14, 15 years old in 2016, you kind of grew up with Trump being the president or trying to be the president. And so you kind of get a sense to know him, or you get really sick of him. Or your brain breaks and you think he's fucking Hitler, which is nuts. Nuts. To the people fucking calling him Hitler in my generation is like, you knew the guy. You've known the guy. You've watched him for 8 years. He's never shot a Jewish person in the face. I mean, I imagine Hitler did that a couple of times before before he was around for 8 years, And so I just think the all these things of like he's Hitler, he's the worst guy of all time, that kind of dies down. Or you get to a point like me where I was just sick and tired of hearing his fucking name. Donnie T this, Donnie T that, this, that, everywhere. Everywhere you look, it's the Orange Man. South Park did a whole fucking season on this guy. You're just sick. You're sick of him. And so I think a lot of people, because the younger generation did vote a lot more for Trump, and I think even the younger generation probably voted third party a lot more, or considered voting third party. I think a lot of people in my generation actually liked RFK a lot. And that was big too with the Trump thing. I think a lot of people were planning on voting RFK. And then once Trump kind of grabbed RFK, I think they grabbed a lot of his supporters. But I just couldn't. I mean, I even thought about voting for Trump when he grabbed RFK, but I just couldn't bring myself to vote for Donald. I couldn't do it. There's just something like this guy has been in and out of the country for 8 fucking years. And it doesn't seem to have gotten that much better. That's the thing, right? It's like, it's one thing if you're constantly talking about this one guy and you look around and everything's better, but fentanyl overdoses are up. My entire generation can't afford to go to college and is going to be in debt for the rest of their lives. The jobs that are available to us barely pay fucking jack shit unless you become an electrician or a plumber. It's just the country didn't get any better in these 8 years of constantly obsessing over this one fucking guy. Right? And so I just think you had a lot of my generation who is either, I think some people are like, let's rip the Band-Aid off. Right? I think that happened too. I think a lot of people were like, hey, you know what? Fuck this. We've been hearing about this guy for 8 years. If Kamala wins, what's going to happen in 2028? We'll still hear about Trump for 4 more years, and then he might win in 2028. Who fucking knows? And according to some people on both sides now, Trump's going to be president again in 2028. So no, but that really will. That's going to be the moment. I think, we'll see what happens. I'm cautiously enthusiastic for Trump. I want him to do well. I want him to, do what he says, make the country great again, blah, blah, blah. Get these violent immigrants out, blah, blah, blah. But the moment where he's like, you know what, let's run it back again for the 4th time. I think, but you're just going to have my generation be like, dude, aren't we done with this? Aren't we done? Because then we'll be talking about him for what? 16 years? Do you know how long that is to obsess over somebody for 16 years? Imagine if you broke up with somebody. All right? Imagine if you broke up with somebody in 16 years. You just constantly talked about them. You constantly talked about them. You were in a relationship with them for 4 years. Didn't work out. And then constantly, you just talked about them for the next 12 years. Sorry about that. It's 5:30, and you know the time. You really see how unprofessional this whole thing is. But I just think a lot of people were like, can we get this over with? Can we just get this second term of this guy fucking over with? Because he seems like he really wants that second term. So just give it. You ever, like, when a teacher, when there's that one kid who always is asking to just up their grade? And by, like, the 5th or 6th time they ask for the better grade, it's just like, I'm going to give it to him. You didn't earn it. You don't need this grade. And you definitely don't deserve this grade. But you annoyed the shit out of me. So long that I'm just going to give you this fucking grade. That's what Trump did. That's what... That's what Trump did with the country. He just kept asking for it, and the country eventually worn down. It was just like, fuck it, take it. Who cares? This place is rotting anyway. It's a failing empire. Just fucking give it up. So the reason why I voted third party was, I didn't want Trump to win, but the Democrats definitely should have lost. You can't look at what they did and be like, yeah, they earned this. Yeah, you had a fucking bumbling idiot go out and take Trump, and then you had arguably even worse of a bumbling idiot after that one. Just horrible fucking thing. The podcast thing was interesting too. Also, it's just weird, right? Like, when I started my podcast, when I was 17 years old, and I think it was November of 2020, and I knew I wanted to be a stand-up comedian, and there were no open mics, no comedy shows, no comedy clubs, nothing, because it was in the middle of COVID, and Massachusetts is full of a bunch of fucking redneck faggots. I call them liberal rednecks. That's what I call people from Boston. They're a bunch of fucking liberal, sort of racist, sort of not. They're like the liberal racist, where Boston people feel like black people can't do anything. So we need to help them in every aspect of life. You know those people? But aggressive. Because California has that too, where it's like the racist liberals. But it's not as aggressive, because it's very, it's L.A. It's L.A. It's, we need to help them, and everything will be okay, and, you just need to find your inner peace, and we need to help black people find their inner peace. That's a very L.A., but, Boston is very, look at these fucking... I go out to my fucking car, and I see a bunch of fucking blacks. You know what I mean? And they won't call them blacks either. They'll just say the N-word. But after that, they'll talk about how much black people need welfare. So, who knows? But, Boston had that very, liberal ideas, but in a very, aggressive manner. Stay inside. Where's your fucking mask? You ain't wearing a fucking mask. It's fucking Boston. And so, there's just nothing going on. And I did it as a to do something. Because I couldn't do stand-up comedy, so I decided to get blackout drunk with my friends in high school on a podcast. And that was like sort of, that wasn't that crazy for podcasts. It was like, you got Joe Rogan, the comedian, back when Joe Rogan was still known as a comedian, before everybody got upset at him for saying that N-word. And you had fucking Theo Vaughn, who is still known as a comic. Now every podcast is taken as like real serious. It's all taken real serious. And everybody's looks at like a podcast host as like an expert. And it was just like, no, I thought that this was supposed to be like where comedians get fucked up and get drunk. But then COVID happened. And the only place where like scientists could go was podcasts. And now in 2024, the only place where politicians can talk actually are podcasts. And so now it's just, what is this? It brings a pressure to, even if you have a podcast, it brings a different type of pressure where, other podcasts are having the president of the United States on and getting them elected. Especially if you're in Austin. I mean, Joe Rogan is like down the fucking street. And here I am with this podcast I started in high school. And you just go, how am I going to compete? There's no way I can compete or catch up. What the fuck is this? What is this? That was the other thing, right? You watched Kamala just go on Call Her Daddy. That fucking shit show of a podcast. Why would you go on a podcast where, the whole concept is like girls talking about sucking dick? I mean, I get Kamala Harris is a slut, but I mean, maybe Kamala Harris could go on the Call Her Daddy podcast and talk about how she slept her way to the top of the entire fucking political system. But you can't go on there and talk about foreign policy. That can't happen. Even Joe Rogan, right? Joe Rogan, you're going to go on, you're going to talk about aliens, conspiracies, stand-up comedy. Even that is more of what people are going to want from the president rather than, you talking about sucking dick. Like, imagine if Trump went on a podcast that was just about sucking dick. You'd be like, what is this guy? What's he doing? What is he doing? And also, the thing was with the Call Her Daddy, right, is that the people who listen to that podcast aren't podcast listeners. So what I mean by that is you have these podcast fans, and they all sort of listen to similar podcasts, right? And, those ones are obviously going to be Joe Rogan, Theo Vaughn, Tim Dillon. You're going to have Bad Friends in there. You're going to have anything Tiger Belly. That's the other one. You're going to have Tiger Belly up there. You're going to have Joey Diaz up there. You're going to have You're gonna have Stavros on that list. You're gonna have, maybe Brilliant Indians or The Breakfast Club. You're gonna have all these podcasts, right? These are like the podcast listeners. And then you have, podcasts where it's gonna be for more the mainstream people who don't really like podcasts. That's going to be Call Her Daddy. Flagrant was originally strictly for podcast listeners, I'd say, like around 2021, 2022. But ever since they got their new studio, they've definitely become a lot more mainstream. You're going to have, gosh, something's in my throat here. Like, ones that I don't even really know. That's the thing, is like, you're probably, maybe Tucker Carlson's on that list. Although Tucker Carlson is kind of like blended with podcast listeners. You're going to have Ben Shapiro on that list. You're going to have a lot of these people who don't really associate with the others, the big podcast listener group, I guess. And there's a couple I'm missing too, right? And then you have other ones that are like specifically for different fan bases. Like there are podcasts for pickleball, all right? That's not for the mainstream, and that's not for podcast listeners either. Those are for people who strictly care about pickleball, right? And you're going to have that with hunters and pool. I'm sure they have that with shooting pool as well. You're going to have that with a bunch of abstract stuff. But Call Her Daddy is going to be one of those ones where it's strictly for people who don't really listen to the big podcasts that are for podcast fans. And you're just going on that one sort of felt like a fuck you to the podcast fans. And by the way, the podcast fans are going to be the people that vote. Those are going to be the people that go out, that are listen to these guys for 9-10 hours a week, nonstop. And, Joe, how many people have hopped in the sauna because Joe Rogan said so? And I mean that, seriously. How many people have listened to Stavros' advice, no matter how insane that might be? How many people have changed their perspective of how they think because Tim Dillon said something? How many people get through work because, Andrew Santino and Bobby Lee are fucking talking about Bobby Lee's dick or Carlos's weird hair or whatever. Like, what? Give an example. Call Her Daddy, even the people who listen to Call Her Daddy don't listen to every single episode. They just don't. You get like and that's a white girl podcast too. That's the other thing. That is, the people who listen to that is like a bunch of different. My sister listens to Call Her Daddy. My sister doesn't like podcasts. She's never listened to Joe Rogan before. She's never listened to Tim Dillon before. She's listened to Call Her Daddy maybe 3 times. But you're not going to reach who you need to reach on Call Her Daddy. That was a big fucking mistake. And I know I'm talking a lot about podcasts and when it comes to the election, and this was a very specific part of the election, not the whole thing. But what are you going to do? I've had a podcast for 4 years. And I listen to podcasts every single day. Like, a lot of my life is podcasts. No matter how sad that may be, it's the truth. It's truth. Oh, Jesus Christ. There I am. Yeah, I think I got every thought I've had about the election since Trump was assassinated by the FBI. I'm excited to see if they try and kill him again. Isn't anybody excited anymore? Isn't anybody like kind of like, ooh, yeah, he might deport, your uncle who got here across the border. He might do that, but aren't you kind of fascinated? You're kind of interested to see what the CIA, if they're going to put a bomb on Trump's car or limo. It's definitely a limo. Are they going to put a bomb in Trump's limo? I'm interested in that. I am. Call me Hitler. I'm interested to see if the CIA puts a bomb, somewhere to kill him. I'm fascinated by that, and I think you should be too. I think you should try to be fascinated by that as well. I said that I wasn't going to talk about the election that much, and I just looked and I've talked about it for an hour. Wow. Wow. Well, is that an hour? I need my glasses. My glasses. Oh, no, it's only been 40 minutes. The 3 look like a 5. That's partially bad eyesight and also the dyslexia. All right, good. I'm moving on from this. I don't want to talk about it anymore. How was everybody's holidays? How was everybody's holidays? Mine was pretty good. Except I had a rough New Year's Eve. I had I went we'll start off with just Christmas. I went home for a month. I went to Massachusetts for 3 weeks, and I went to Erie for a week. And it was pretty cool. I worked. I mean, obviously, I have white trash parents. And the thing is with white trash parents, they'll never let you not work if you want any of their money. If you're not working or going to school, they'll never give you a dime. You'll never see a dime. They'll let you go homeless before they give you money if you're not working. And that's a fact, by the way. That's a fact with my parents, which I'm not disagreeing with. That's probably going to be how I raise my children. Maybe not to the full extent. But, my parents, they grew up with nothing. They were white trash. They were white trash turned white privilege. And it's so... And even I was a little white trash when I was first born. That was ended quickly by the time I was 12. But where was I going with this? Where was I? I was talking about Christmas. How did I get to my parents? Oh yeah, I was working. There we go. That was the connection. Yeah, so I worked while I was in Massachusetts, but I did take that week off while I was in Erie because I don't know anywhere to work there. I don't have like a job set up or whatever. But either way, it was great. I mean, dude, have you ever taken like a week off? Just a week off, especially after you've like just done nothing but work. Oh my God, it's fucking glorious. I'm thinking about it right now. It was over a month ago. It was like well over a month ago where I was just sitting, doing nothing, and it was so beautiful. I mean, it was just, there's something about it, and the thing is it will kill you if you do that all the time. If you go week after week after, by like the second week of doing nothing, you'll be like, oh my God, am I a worthless piece of shit? But if you work really hard, which I did for like 3 months when I first moved down here, it was like 4 months really. When I moved down here and I was working like 40 hours a week and going to the gym and trying to hit as many open mics as humanly possible, it was like, holy fuck, this week is amazing. Week is amazing. And the thing was, right, is I did drink like pretty much every single day, and I smoked weed every single day while I was in Erie. And then I came back, and there was like 2 days where I like worked, kind of. I think I worked one of the days, and I hit the gym once, and there was no open mics in Boston. I hit open mics while I was in the suburbs of Boston as well. But it was just, it was interesting because I didn't like get too drunk any of the days, and I didn't really cause any problems. But then New Year's Eve came. New Year's Eve came, and I hadn't gotten, like, blackout drunk in, like, forever. Like, forever. And I didn't go in with the intention of getting blackout drunk, but I did go in with the intention of, if I black out, it's New Year's Eve. And I ended up blacking out real quick. Like, real quick. Too quick. And I I ended up calling my best friend a cunt. Who is also hosting the party. Oh, I did do a fuck up with that one. Uh, I did a bad thing with that one. That one was real fucking bad. I got too blacked out, and I don't remember anything from New Year's Eve. Like literally, I remember I was talking to this chick, and I was flirting with her, and we were watching pool. Everything was going good, and then all of a sudden, I literally sober up as my best friend is looking at me, and he's calling me an asshole, and he's threatening me with water. And here's the thing: when somebody threatens you with water, and you're drunk, and if you have any sense of reasonableness, you're in the wrong. If somebody's calling you an asshole and they're threatening you with water, they're like, drink this fucking water, asshole. You're just like, oh, wow. What did I have to do here to deserve this? And I called him a cunt in front of everybody, and I told him that what I did? I told him I do what I want, cunt. I think is what I don't remember. I don't remember saying any of this to him. It was all word of mouth from other people and from him, and I think that's what he told me. I said to him. I believe it doesn't really matter exactly the words I said. It was bad. It was real bad, and totally fucking inappropriate. And I felt so fucking bad. I also screamed at this girl. I screamed at this girl who I hadn't seen in like 2 fucking years. I mean, Jesus Christ. Jesus fucking Christ. I'm never blacking out around people who aren't my best friends. Ever again. I'm only blacking out around comedians and people who have known me for over 5 years. Oh my God, and I woke up and I tried to figure out what was going on. I did nothing but apologize to my friend, I did absolutely fucking nothing but apologize to him. I got him a case of beer. I gave his sister, who was also hosting the party, some free weed. And I gave his mom some flowers. And I tried to apologize to the girl I screamed at, but apparently I didn't apologize well enough. I don't know. I still feel weird about. Here's my thing, right? I think the girl is just gonna be mad at me. No matter what. No matter what words I could have said, no matter in what form I could have put them in, I think she was just gonna be mad, which is fair, right? You scream at somebody who you haven't seen in 2 years, and I just feel like a fucking dirtbag. I still do. I literally haven't really gotten drunk since then, and I don't really want to. I don't really want to ever do that again. I mean, this one, and I've gotten too fucked up before, and there's been problems, but nothing. I mean, nothing like this. Where, like, the problems where I've had before in the past were like, all right, well, this person said something to you, and then you kind of overreacted, and maybe you said something that you should have said, or whatever. But this was the first time, really, where, like, I blacked out, and then every person I talked to is like, yeah, you fucked up. And there was no, like, oh, this person did that, and so you reacted this way. And I was just like, you are a piece of shit. And so I tried to apologize to that girl, but I don't think she'll ever forgive me. Which is fine, you know? I mean, well, it's not fine, but it's not the worst thing that could have ever fucking happened. And also, when I apologized, I didn't really know what had happened still. Like, I got more and more information after the fact that I apologized. And she gave me, like, a sort of a brief summary. And then I apologized again. I offered to apologize in person. I offered to apologize over the phone. I didn't really want to just, like, show up at her house and just, like, hey, I'm sorry. Like a fucking jump scare. All of a sudden, the guy who screamed at you on New Year's Eve is right in front of your doorway. That didn't seem like a good idea. And I didn't really want to randomly call her either. So I, which is weird, right? Like, that used to be the only way to apologize. I guess I could have sent a card. But that seems gay. Is that weird that seems gay if I sent, like, a card as an apology? I don't know. But either way, I try to apologize to everybody. I still feel like a piece of shit for doing what I did. You know, and here's the thing, right? It's like, what are you responsible for? Are you responsible for the fact that you got too drunk? Are you still responsible for the fact of what you did while you were too drunk? And I don't really know the answer to that question, I guess. I'd say it's probably both. I'd say, you know, because I definitely wouldn't have done what I did if I was blacked out. There's no fucking chance in hell. I wouldn't have talked to the girl. I wouldn't have yelled. I wouldn't have screamed at my best friend and called him a cunt. But, you know, I did get too fucked up, and I did do those things while I was too fucked up. So it's probably like both. I'd probably say it's like 60-40, right? But you just can't get that fucked up around people that don't really know you, especially if you're me. Because I'll just keep drinking when I'm blacked out. I don't stop. It's not like, oh, I black out and then I pass out. No. That's not how my brain works. Also, it's just so frustrating. You know, if I smoked weed, this whole thing would have been fine. If I just showed up to the party and was like, I'm not drinking, I'm just going to get high as fuck. Absolutely none of this would have happened. So I feel like a douchebag, but, you know, you live and you learn. I guess this is good to do when I'm 20. You know, when you're in your 21, rather than you do it when you're 35. But fuck. You know what I mean, man? You feel like a douchebag. And on some level, you should feel like a douchebag. You should feel like a douchebag. You should feel real bad. And you kind of got to accept the fact that some of those people are just never going to be like, well, you know, it was a one-time thing. You know, it's just so frustrating. I was doing so well. I was doing, like, so well. Just not, you know, not getting too drunk. Not doing stupid shit when I was too drunk. And then here comes this one fucking night, and it's in front of fucking 30 people. Ugh, my fucking dumbass. Is there anything else? Is there anything else I want to talk about? Oh, yeah, there was one more thing. There was one more fucking thing. I do have to go pee, so I'm going to go pee. I'm going to go grab a water, and then I poured a shot of Bacardi that I was like, I'll keep it here in case I want it. And the guilt of what happened on New Year's Eve is getting to me, so. So I'm going to do the manly thing and take a shot of vodka. All right, I'll be right back. Hey, what's going on? I took like a 20-minute break there. I'm still going to take this shot. I had to find these two clips, and I knew it was going to take me a second to find these two clips on the internet because I really, really wanted to fucking get in on this because I think, you know, I do the whole Tim Dillon thing a lot about, you know, how our society is collapsing and how we probably only have about 10 or 20 good years left until we really start to see how much this country has fallen. And I think that this is a really, really good example to see what is coming. I think I'm going to predict this. I think we're going to look back at this in 10 years, and this will be, I say a lot of things on this podcast, but this one in particular will be one of the things where you go, wow, he really was spot on. Wow, he actually really was spot on, and we should have taken what he was saying as a warning, and we really should have prepared ourselves. So I'm going to take this shot of vodka. It's actually Bacardi, so white rum. I'm going to take this shot of white rum with my liquid IV, so I get the electrolytes, and it's low-cal, low-sugar, and which is what 20-year-olds are concerned with nowadays. Low-cal, low-sugar as they take drugs. So I'm going to take this shot, and we're gonna dive in on this because I have so many thoughts and ideas and predictions of where this country is going. I'm going to take this. Wow. All right, let's get in on this. This is the first clip. So it's on the screen. If you want to watch it, you're not going to be able to watch my face, but you can watch this video or just listen to it. You don't really need to watch it. But I want you to try to look at this in a context. And I know I'm going to sound like Kamala Harris here, but you got to watch this with the context of what porn is. What it is, what it has been, and more importantly, where pornography and porn stars are going. Okay? And I need you to watch this. Just for me. We're going to watch two clips here.
Bro, why?
You're my sister. You're mean to me.
There was this dude.
Oh,
Do you think I'm a good sister?
No.
That was Shingulas.
Bro, why?
You're my sister. You're mean to me.
Not all the time. Bro, we live in
You're saying
different
this shit
states.
because you're on a podcast.
No, we live in different states. How I mean to you.
Uh-huh.
I mean to you when you're failing your classes. Yeah.
I'm not failing.
A D.
It's not failing.
That's a D. It's failing.
F is failing. F
A
is
D is failing.
For you it is because you're A plus child.
Right, I am.
Shut the hell up. You're literally doing your career is in only. You can't be talking. You're selling pictures of whatever. You can't be saying shit. All that studying was for what? For what?
Do you think?
Okay, so what we just watched there's this girl, her name is Camila, and she does OnlyFans. And I like how we've kind of changed the term of OnlyFans a lot where it's not porn. I like how we call OnlyFans not porn because it sounds cute. You know, porn has this, heaviness to the word. It has this heaviness and this ugliness. But if you're just, doing OnlyFans, then it's, you're doing OnlyFans. Because the thing is with OnlyFans is there are people on OnlyFans who don't do porn. But this girl does do porn. And so I like how we're talking about her doing pornography, but we're not saying the word pornography. It's very interesting. Because, pornography it's an ugly word. But OnlyFans is cute. It's like a cute word. And so this girl is doing OnlyFans. She's talking to her brother about her being a good sister or a bad sister. And, they're talking about grades and the grades he's getting at school and how she was an A+ student. And then he snaps back quickly and says, "Shut the fuck up. You do pornography." which is that's the only correct response you can give in this situation. We have another clip here. I don't want to dive too much into this because I do want you guys to watch this as well. So this clip is after the first one. By the way, both of these clips, one of them is on her YouTube and the other one I found on her Instagram. So let's watch the second one.
I don't know why you're so set on going to college. Like, just don't, be an entrepreneur like me and be successful that way.
Entrepreneur? You only that's not being an entrepreneur.
Yes, it is. It's a business.
You sell pictures of yourself online. That's not being an entrepreneur.
Okay, well, if you think I'm not a f***ing entrepreneur, let's go band for band. Let's go band for band. I bought dad a f***ing car. I'm about to pay off mom's f***ing mortgage. I'll pay for your f***ing college. You don't think that's a entrepreneur? Then I don't know what the f*** is.
That's just using your money.
That I make through the business of OnlyFans.
Yeah, but that's the business, not being an entrepreneur.
Whatever, I'm not gonna argue with the 10-year-old.
I'm not 10!
So, all right, just from that clip alone, do you see why pimps are necessary? No. And I mean that not in like a way that you don't understand. I mean that in the most offensive way possible. I mean that in a way where I go, do you not understand why you would need a man, a very dominant man, to control these type of women who would do these types of things? And I mean that in the most literally the most offensive, sexist, misogynistic way possible. I can't say that in a more misogynistic way. Because what you're watching, right, is the dynamic between a sister and a brother. And the sister who does porn, and you're watching I'm going to guess here, just the way he talks, interacts, and speaks with his sister is a very intelligent young man. He may be gay, he may not be. He looks, whatever. It doesn't matter his sexual preference. The point is, he seems like a very intelligent, reasonable human being. And then you have this woman who is doing porn. And again, not using the term porn, using the term OnlyFans, which is hilarious, which is completely fucking hilarious on that point alone. But then you have her questioning, why would her brother want to go to college? And you have to sit back and you have to say to yourself, oh, this is why these types of women would have pimps. This is why you would have a pimp beat the shit out of these women. Because they actually need that. No. These types of women actually need a dominant man to slap them in the face. And we've had this whole thing for like years now. I would say probably since 2010, 2012, whatever, it doesn't really matter, where we have these women advocating for themselves and saying we can do sex work without the pimps, and we actually don't want the pimps there, and we can actually be reasonable human beings and do our sex work in privacy. And what I'm seeing here now, what I'm witnessing right now, is that's false. That's actually false. So you have these two options, right? You can let a pimp run these whorehouses, right? You can let these pimps run these whorehouses, and when these women step out of line, they get the shit kicked out of them. Or you can let the sluts run the whorehouses, and then these sluts in the whorehouses will call their brother out for wanting to go to college. These are our two options, by the way. These are the two options that we have. We either have whores yelling at their family members, going, why aren't you doing what I'm doing and selling your body for sex? Or you have pimps beating the shit out of these women for acting out of control. I choose the pimp. No. Again, I mean that in the most offensive, misogynistic, sexist way. Where I don't believe that the women who would sell themselves on the internet are capable of not having a boss. I don't think that they respect authority. I don't think they respect themselves. And what we just saw from the clips, they certainly don't respect their family members. And you see in this same clip, right, where she's arguing with his brother about going to college. Well, again, her point, her perspective on the situation is that why would her brother go to college when he can just sell pictures of his penis on the internet? By the way, men never make as much money doing porn unless it's gay porn. So what you basically, what this comes down to is this sister wants her brother to do gay porn. Which, by the way, he kind of seems gay. So maybe she's onto something here. Maybe she is. I don't know. But the reality of the situation is he could not be gay. He could just be a feminine straight man. Those exist, right? Do they not? Did we not just go through 10 years of destroying the gender, expectations? Did we not just do that? So can this guy just not be a feminine man? So we have this sister telling her brother to give up on college and to do pornography. So we have to watch this one more time.
I don't know why you're so set on going to college. Like,
Right.
Just
Right. Why would you go to college?
Be an entrepreneur like me.
Be an
and
entrepreneur
be
by
successful
doing
that way.
porn.
Entrepreneur?
Correct. Laugh at her. Laugh at her in her face. See,
not
that's the
being an
problem.
entrepreneur.
See,
Yes,
that was
it
the
is.
problem in the clip right there, is that he said something afterwards. He should have, right, done what a pimp did, laughed at her face, gotten up, and then smacked her in the face. No, and again, I mean that in a misogynistic, sexist way. I do. No. I do mean that in that way. I mean in a way where it would be offensive to other women if they heard what I'm saying. You cannot have, and by the way, women who are smart, like really, really smart women, would be like, yeah, you gotta lock these bitches up in cages. Because they deal with them more than men do. Truly. You cannot give a shallow woman millions and millions and millions of dollars and expect it not to turn out this way. You just can't. You can't do it unless you have a man there beating the shit out of them. Truly, that's what's going on.
It's a
Watch it
business.
one more
You
time.
sell pictures of yourself online. That's
True.
not being an entrepreneur.
Okay, well, if
Fact.
you think I'm not a f***ing entrepreneur, let's go band for band.
Band for band.
Let's go band for band. I bought dad a f***ing car. I'm about to pay off mom's f***ing mortgage. I'll pay for your f***ing college. You don't think that's a f***ing entrepreneur? Then I don't know what the f*** is.
That's just using your money.
True.
That I make through the business of OnlyFans.
Crazy she
It's a
posted
business,
this.
not being an entrepreneur.
Whatever,
Wow.
I'm not going to argue with the 10-year-old.
I'm not 10.
So, okay. In the same clip where she calls him a 10-year-old boy, in that same clip, she threatens him with going band to band, with let's compare bank accounts, to somebody she calls 10 years old. A grown woman, by the way. And this is my point right now. If you think that this is going to stop, if you think that this is going to slow down, if you think for a moment that I am over-exaggerating the situation, this is just the tip of the iceberg. OnlyFans has not been around that long. I know it feels like it's been here forever because pornography has been here forever. And any smart, intelligent woman could have just set up their own website to promote their pussy. But the reality is a lot of bitches who would promote their pussies aren't smart and intelligent. And so you have this app or website called OnlyFans come around, who basically makes it really easy for women like this to market their pussies on the internet, right? And now you're going to have these women who are going to criticize their family members, people who aren't of the age of 18, by the way, talking to them about how, no, you should sell pictures of your penis on the internet. No, you should do that. In fact, if you don't have the money if you don't have the money I have, then you're pathetic. Then you're the problem. Even though that I have no amount of dignity and you do, you're part of the problem here. And by the way, we're listening to this on her podcast. So this is where I'm going to really, really go like Alex Jones on this bitch. This woman is not just a porn star arguing with her brother on the internet. This is a part of what she does. So she argues with his brother on the internet. She does, TikTok. She dances online. Watch it. Oh yeah. Drop it to the flow. Drop it to the flow. Oh yeah. Look at her amazing dancing. Do you think she has, how many followers does she have on Instagram? She has 2.8 million followers on Instagram. Do you think that they're tuning in and signing in and following her account for the TikToks of dancing? No. Be honest with me. Be completely honest with me. Do you think that the reason why people are tuning in on her Instagram account is because they want to see her dance? And let me be very clear here, because I know that people are going to make the distinction between this girl arguing with her brother, doing TikTok dances, doing a podcast, right? And they're going to conflict that with the Costco guys. They're gonna think these things are too different. And I'm here to tell you right now, they're actually the same thing. There is no difference between this girl popping her pussy on the internet, doing podcasts, doing TikTok dances, and the Costco guys. And believe me, I think I'm surprised it hasn't happened already. They're going to do a collab. This girl who pops her pussy on the internet and AJ from the Costco guys are going to be doing TikToks together very, very, very soon. And if you don't think that, I bet money. I bet the very few dollars that I have on you're going to get these OnlyFans porn stars who are becoming more. By the way, being a porn star was enough, right? In like the 2000s and like the 1990s, being a porn star, you couldn't do anything else. You couldn't do anything else. That was you. That's what you did. And if you didn't do that anymore, you had to go get a real job in a small town and hope to God that the people in that small town didn't know how to use the internet. You had to like hide from this. But that's not what's going to go on now. What's going to happen now, and it started with Lana Rhoades, the porn star Lana Rhoades. See, Lana Rhoades was a porn star who got very, very popular for taking big black dick up the ass. That's what she got popular for. Sorry, not sorry. That's how she got popular. And what started to happen with Lana Rhoades was a very interesting story, where she did porn for like 4 to 5 years. She made millions and millions and millions and millions and millions and millions and millions of dollars. And then after she made those millions and millions and millions of dollars, she turned around and talked about how hard it was to be a porn star. For taking black dick up the ass. Then she would talk about how the porn industry used her and how they made all this money off of her, and she only made a small portion of that money, which was millions and 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 millions of dollars. Which, by the way, welcome to show business, cuz. Welcome to show business. Have you heard of Dave Chappelle? I'm sorry. Have you heard of Dave Chappelle? Do you know his story with the Dave Chappelle show? Have you heard of the show Dave Chappelle Show? And there's a whole story around it about how the main creator, Dave Chappelle, felt like he was being used. And so he moved to Africa. That, by the way, that's what happened. And that was for a TV show. This woman did none of that. And this all started with Lana Rhoades. And then after that, she started selling lingerie. And people were like, okay, that kind of makes sense. So this porn star who does porn turns around, complains about doing porn, then sells lingerie. Okay? And that's sort of the start of what we have here with Camila, who is doing porn, arguing with her brother about doing porn, doing TikTok dances, and also online on her Instagram, she is now in the studio with the baby. You can't make this up. You literally cannot make this up. And so when I tell you that this is the same incarnation, by the way, you saw how she argues. This is not a human being. This is a demon. This is what Tim Dillon is talking about, where he talks about the Costco guys, about how they're actually demons. They're actually demons sent from hell. And the Bible talks about this. The Bible talks about how, not demons, but, no, I believe it is demons. Like how the people sent from Satan are not going to show up and be like, hey, I'm a demon. They're going to disguise themselves as people that you would watch as attractive human beings, as people that you would look at and be like, oh, that's kind of cute. Right? But in reality, what they are is demons sent from hell. This woman is another demon sent from hell who is going to be arguing with her brother, doing TikTok dances while popping her pussy on the internet, and then she's going to collab with the baby. And if you think I'm exaggerating, I'm telling you right now I'm not. I'm telling you right now I'm not. And watching what the porn industry has become is very, very interesting. Because we've kind of gotten the entire United States young generation of men hooked on porn. We've let 10-year-old boys start watching porn. I mean, we do. We give them cell phones at 11 years old. You don't think that they're watching porn? By the time I was 12 years old, I was watching women be tied up on strings with their titties all looking purple and look like they were about to be ripped off from their chest. That's what I was watching at 12 years old, by the way. And so if you don't think that they're watching Camila here pop her pussy on the internet at 10 years old while they watch her argue with her brother, argue with her about going to college, while she does TikTok dances and collabs with the baby. By the way, this is how our civilization should end. Not kidding you. It should end with porn stars going on their social medias and arguing with their brothers about why they're going to college. Not kidding. Literally not kidding. And bring pimps back, because we need women like this to get the shit kicked out of them whenever they think about doing something like this. All right, everybody, thank you so much. That is literally all I have to say about the past 9 months from my abstinences. This has been episode 165. I hope you have a fantastic day, night, whatever. Goodbye.